Guys, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and today we're going to answer an email with a video. Most all the questions I get are pretty good, but this one is just really hard to answer some questions with an email. Sometimes I'll email you back and tell you to send me your phone number so I can call you, because you just can't answer some with an email. And the ones that I feel I just can't answer with a phone call, I do a video on it. Now this is a spare chain case I have, and I'm going to show you what happened to his tractor is he was mowing and he said he felt it locking up on him. Apparently it was jerking and probably came to a stop. So he stopped, he put it in his garage, tipped it up, he took the left fender off, found my videos on YouTube, pulled off his chain case first, and opened it up. And he found that the needle bearings for the hub and sprocket on the top failed. He said they fell apart when he took them out. And then the shaft on the bottom is your sprocket and shaft. This is your hub and shaft. So we're going to break this open and I'll show you how you can change them if you don't have all the tools that I have. So hang on, I'm going to tip this camera down and we'll get started. Okay, well I had you on pause, I took all them screws out. Now the next thing you want to do is take the big nut off of your clutch assembly. Underneath that big nut are two spring washers. These are cupped. They kind of look like a shape of a bowl if you want. This one has two of them on it. Then your clutch assembly will pull off. This one is not like most of them. The new ones are what they call a soft start. This is solid. This is off of a early Comet. That was before, I think before they even call them snappers. Take your key out. On this side you want to take, if you have this type of brake assembly, you want to take this bolt out. You have another spring washer. This is a real thick one. It has more power than these little thin ones do. Then there's a large, thick, flat washer. Then your brake drum. Dump them back in there. Then there is another thin spring washer. Your brake disc you can just leave on there. Now when you crack this thing open, you're probably going to have to take a couple screwdrivers, stick them in this crack, and pry this open. You want to be careful, you don't want to bend this lip or the thing may leak. Then pull it apart. Now this is going to be full of the worst, nastiest looking stuff you've ever seen. It's going to be black and gooey. Wear some gloves. Just wipe all that crap out of here. That's your old snapper lube. After a while it gets hard and it does absolutely nothing for lubrication, because when it's new it's semi-liquidy, if that's a word, and as this stuff turns it gets spread around and it lubricates the bearings, the lower bearings, keeps the chain and sprockets lubricated. But when it gets old, it dries out, it gets hard, and it just sits there and does absolutely nothing. That's my opinion. That's why I don't use it. Now to get this sprockets out of here and the chain, you have to pull them both out at the same time. Now this is a good time to check your chain. I'm going to lay it on a flat surface. You want to move it back and forth. Make sure it don't bend on you. Keep it straight and move it back and forth. You can see my hands moving. That's the slop in all these links. A good chain has no slop in them. So if it's really bad, or when it's on there, it's got a lot of side play, now's the time to change it. His needle bearings failed. Well, let's use this half. It's a good time to check your ball bearings in the bottom. Put your finger in it, push, and turn it. It should feel smooth. If you feel any catches or a step, or if it completely stops and don't want to turn unless you go backwards and then turn it again, it's time to change them too. Now on this part of the chain case, for some reason, I don't know if they had a defect in their stamp, their die when they stamp these things, but up here in this corner on a few of them, they'll have this little V-shaped notch. And some of these, you can hold them up to the light and you can actually see light through that. That means if you put 80-90 gear lube in here like I do, it's going to leak out of this hole. Or it could. What I do on the machines I rebuild, I ask the customer, what are you going to put back into your chain case and in your differential? Do you want snapper lube or do you want 80-90 gear lube? If I'm going to put 80-90 gear lube in here, I'll weld this hole shut. A little wire welder, all you have to do is zap it and it's done. So you got them out. Now to get the bearings out of here, I use, if nothing else, use a socket. I work in a machine shop and I turn up a part that fits in here a little tighter than this does. You can see it's got a little movement. Now I'll turn it up about this thick. It looks kind of like a T. I'll turn up something that looks like this. This will be a 1/2-inch shaft. This will be the diameter out here of about, let's see, what is the diameter on this hole? 1 5/8. This socket is about 1 1/2. Put that socket on top of the bearing. Take a hammer. You might want to get a little block of wood. Let me grab one to put across the open end of the socket and wrap it out of there. To put it back in, I wouldn't pound it. Beating on a bearing is never a good thing. To put it back in, this one will be a little easier. Set it on the table of your drill press if you have one. Set the socket on there. Bring the chuck down and press it in with your drill press. You don't really want to beat on a bearing. This one is up actually a little high. We're going to knock this one down a little bit. I like to have them just under 1/8 of an inch. And I'll show you why. Let's see if that helped. Now when you put this back together, you're going to have a gasket in here. I'm not sure how thick they are, but that's going to spread this apart a little more. So when this is together with no gasket, it would be really nice if you had no side plate. This has very little. That's because I just tapped that bearing back in where I usually put them. If you measure from the top of the chain case down to the top of the bearing, you're going to want about 3/32 of an inch. That's just under 1/8. And if these are your nylon thrust washers. If I can get this one off. When these are new, they're around 3/8 of an inch thick. So if these look like they're worn, and where they're going to wear out, let me show you that, is that the face of this thing is flat. This rubs on the edge of this bearing. This bearing is sticking up above this surface. And where that's going to wear is right around the edge of the hole. You can see this mark on here. That's actually wore in to the nylon. That's from this rubbing on this bearing. So if yours has a big indentation right here, you might as well replace them. You got to order parts anyway. Get this thing back together after you get your new bearings pressed in. Your sprocket and shaft, that's what they call this. They call this one the hub and sprocket. Your sprocket and shaft has to go in the right way. The short end goes through the side of the case that has these brackets welded onto it. This one's for your linkage to bolt to and your brake band, if you have one. Some machines don't. And this bracket up here is for your brake cable to hook onto. If you don't have this type of brake, you won't have the brake cable. And they may not even put this on here. Some will have it on if they had a bunch of parts stamped out. When they change the design, they'll just keep using them till they use them up. So you may have this bracket on, but you won't need it for anything. Now this is another time, good time to check your bearings on the bottom. These are ball bearings. These are what they call needle bearings. If you can look down in there, you'll see a bunch of little, they look like pieces of needle. I guess that's where they get their name from. This is a good time to check your ball bearings. You want to put your finger in there and twist it. That should feel smooth all the time. If it catches or you feel a bump every time you go around, or if you're turning it and it just plain stops until you go backwards and turn it again, replace them. They're shot. Now to put this thing back together, you got your side of your case with your brackets on them. Put that down. Put your chain on. Put it on your other shaft. And you pretty much have to slide these through at the same time. Now your short end is sticking out this way. Put your cover on. And you can start putting it back together. I'm just going to put one screw in here for right now. Your spring washer, cup side up. Your brake drum, get that linkage out of the way. Brake drum on. Your plain thick flat washer. Then you have your spring washer, a thick one. That goes with the cup side down. Then you put your bolt in. Tighten that up. We're just going to start it. Flip her over. You want to get your key. It's a Woodruff key. And stick your clutch assembly on. Now, no matter if you have a solid clutch assembly or a soft start, it's going to come off and go on the same way. This particular one has two spring washers and then the big nut. And Jeff from Mississippi, that's how you put your bearings in. Let me tip this back up. And when you guys give me a holler, tell me what state you're from or what country you're from. And I never knew that Snapper was sold worldwide. I thought it was just a company that sold in the United States. But I am getting viewers asking for help from a lot of different countries. The most recent one was, I'm getting a lot from Belgium, South Africa, oh gosh, over by Switzerland. It's unbelievable how far you can reach out and help someone. But now I need your help. I need subscribers. So when you find a video and you like it and you want to see all of them or more of them, touch the word that says subscribe. It's free. It does not cost you anything. It may ask you to set up an email account if you don't have one. The only reason it's asking you that is so it can let you know when I put on more videos. That is free. But what subscribing does that's going to help you, I need subscribers. I'm like at 517, which is nothing. You get up to 100,000 or 200,000 subscribers, you can start getting people to sponsor you. I'm working on Parts Tree, but I'm a little small for them. They did offer me a discount on parts, but what I'm working on is for them to give my viewers a discount on parts. When you call Parts Tree to order parts, tell them that Jim's Fix-It Shop sent you to them. Let them know how many people are actually finding them because of these videos. A few of you viewers have done that because they actually called me this week and talked to me about all the people I've been sending to them to buy parts. I exclusively buy parts from Parts Tree. But as of yet, they haven't okayed or authorized passing on a savings as a percentage off of parts to my viewers. That's what I'm working for. And other things that I could use in the shop, companies will send you for free for the advertising. But I need viewers. I need people to subscribe. So push that word. It not only will help, well, it's not really going to help me out. I want to help you guys out. So I guess, Jeff, that should help you. If you have any more questions, send me another email. And until next time, work safe, have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.